Welcome to the Bentley stand at the 2017 Frankfurt Motor Show, and this is a brand new Continental GT. Now, we will get to the important engineering stuff in a minute, but I want to talk about the headlights. They are things of absolute beauty. If you said that somebody was going to design a headlight around cut glass crystal, well, you'd think it might look dubious, but these are absolutely stunning. There are 82 LEDs in each one, and apparently there's a welcome setting you can have so that they glow forwards from the back. Anyway, on to the main things about the car. Underneath the bonnet is a 6-litre W12 with 626 brake horsepower and 664 pounds-foot of torque. The performance figures are 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.6 seconds and a top speed of 207 miles an hour, which, if you know your Bentleys, is 2 miles an hour faster than the old GT speed. Needless to say, it should be pretty serene at that speed. Having done 205 miles an hour in old GT speed, I can assure you it is a wonderful place to be doing the double ton. Anyway, let's move further down the side of the car and point a few other things out. Now, I thought I'd crouch down here because, firstly, there's a lovely little design detail. We've seen this sort of flying bee before, but it's much better integrated into this new Conti GT. The brakes, 420 millimetres. These are the largest iron brakes ever fitted to a production car. We should also talk about the positioning of the engine. Now, this car is sharing a platform with the Porsche Panamera, which is a very good thing. And now we've got the engine, instead of being slung ahead of the front axle, it's now much further backwards. We've got 3-chamber air suspension as opposed to 1-chamber before, which means there's a much greater dynamic range between sort of comfort and dynamic. We've also got the 48-volt anti-roll system that we've seen in the Bentayga before, which should help with the handling of the car. In terms of overall curb weight, this now weighs 2,242 kilos, which is obviously very heavy, although it's 75 kilos lighter than the old car. However, they're saying the handling of this car is going to be really quite different. There's a good reason for that. So let's go around to the back of the car. This is essentially a rear-wheel drive car until it needs to be an all-wheel drive car, at which point, in normal mode, it will send up to 400 Newton meters of torque to the front axle. On dynamic mode, it will send up to 80 Newton meters of torque to the front axle. Now, for those of you sort of working that out, yes, that means it will drift. Apparently, you can sort of turn it in on the brakes and then just steer it through on the throttle, which is very un-Conti GT-like, but sounds like an awful lot of fun. But of course, the Conti GT, as much as it should be a driver's car, should also be able to waft you across continents in complete comfort. So let's go and have a look at the interior, because that is something that is enormously important to this car. The old Conti GT was a lovely thing, but to be honest, by the end of its lifetime, it really was starting to show its age. Not, I don't think, particularly in the way it looks, or certainly not the way it went, but just in the interior. This had to be a big step up, and my word it is. This is the first time I've sat in it or really looked at it, and it's beautiful in here. It's exactly what you expect from a Bentley. This is the rotating display, which is either these 3 dials here, and you press this button, then it will go to a huge screen, which is all completely up to date, and we have maps, we've got your jukebox, we've got all the drive settings here. We've got a full digital dash behind the wheel here with sort of almost 3D look to the dials, despite the fact it's 2D. So there we are. That's the new Conti GT, and I'm very excited by it. I always loved the old car, but there were a few things as a driver's car, it didn't really stack up. It was a beautifully relaxing place to be, but when you pushed on, and my word, you could push on in it, it just didn't quite sort of live up to expectations. This, with its new chassis, really should be quite something. And the looks, it's done a brilliant job of looking sleek, yet still somehow brutish. It's taken a lot from that XP10 Speed 6 concept and put it into reality. So there we are. That's the Bentley stand at the 2017 Frankfurt Motor Show.